Perhaps you've seen it, maybe in a dream, a murky, forgotten land. A place where souls may mend your ailing mind.
The specter of mental illness is a curse that haunts millions of people every day. Yet so many seem to have little understanding of mental illness and how it affects the people who have to live with it. The people affected often lose themselves in depression and delusion. Reality itself can feel twisted and warped, like a different world entirely. It's a daily struggle as people have to fight their own minds and desperately cling to whatever scraps of hope and connection they can find. Hi, my name is Matt, and I want to talk about Dark Souls 2, an excellent game that explores mental illness and how we fight to keep ourselves. I have schizoaffective disorder, depressive type. It's the next door neighbor of schizophrenia. On screen now is a brief explanation from the Mayo Clinic website. I face anxiety, depression, paranoia, and occasionally hallucinations. All of these things mess with my perception of reality and how I interact with the world. I used to be pretty outgoing, but as I've gotten worse over time, I'm a lot more withdrawn. I often isolate myself because that just feels easier to manage. I constantly feel like my grasp on reality is slipping, and like the protagonist of Dark Souls 2, I'm falling into darkness. It occurred to me while recording the first episode of a Let's Play series that I'm doing on this game, that one of the usable items is more or less an anchor. The human effigy. As you die in this game, over and over, you lose your humanity bit by bit. This is represented by you losing parts of your health bar, and your avatar looking more and more zombie-like. Each death takes you further and further from yourself. You're starting down the path of becoming a hollow. This is the curse that the game is based around. The curse that the player character must live with and fight against. Incidentally, hollow is an apt term since that's what depression feels like. A growing emptiness within you that spreads throughout your being. At least that's what it feels like to me. In order to keep the hollowing process at bay, you use the human effigy, a small, vaguely human-shaped trinket that you clasp to your chest and absorb into yourself. This act restores your humanity and resets the hollowing process. As I've said, I have a mental illness. I constantly have to remind myself that reality is real, that I'm real, because I frequently drift away from myself and fall into a headspace that suggests otherwise. When I'm in this state, something that helps bring me back to reality is holding something, often squeezing it. The tactile feeling helps ground me. I see Dark Souls 2 as a mirror to my struggle to maintain my grip on reality. Death and hollowing are akin to losing myself in my delusions, with the human effigy bringing me back, so I can continue my path through this twisted psychological landscape in which I find myself. Drangleic, the world in Dark Souls 2, has received a lot of criticism for its layout. The accusation is that it makes no logical sense, and as such, it's bad. I agree that the layout doesn't make sense. After all, from the top of this tower, an elevator takes you up to a castle surrounded by lava. It defies all logic and reason, if you take the world literally. But this world is not completely literal. It's a blend of physical space and psychological landscape, much like Silent Hill and Spec Ops: The Line. Physical space is twisted and contorted because it's evoking a tenuous grasp on reality. As you travel through the world, you meet many other people, both players and NPCs, who are facing their own struggles. Most people you meet in this game have difficulty remembering how they got there, and what drew them to this world in the first place. The game leaves several strong hints that Drangleic is a place you can't just hop on a horse and travel to. The opening of the game shows a swirling, dark whirlpool opening up in a lake. Whether this scene is literal or metaphor, and maybe it's a little of both, this is a strong indication that the world of Drangleic is another realm entirely. Its entrance is unclear and communicated as a metaphor for falling into an abyss. Expecting this world to uphold the laws of physics is unreasonable and missing the point. This is a magical and psychological place that shapes itself around the journey and reflects the struggle of dealing with mental illness. Of all Dark Souls 2's enemies, one is instantly recognizable terror, stalking the player throughout the early game: the Pursuer. This is the second main boss in the Forest of Fallen Giants. This floating knight does what the name suggests, chases the player through the game. His continued appearance puts the player on edge. Traveling becomes tense for first-time players because you start to expect him around every corner. You don't just feel the dread when he's there, you also feel it knowing that he could be anywhere. He could show up at any time. Additionally, even knowing where he shows up doesn't mean he'll be easy to deal with. The Pursuer is a tough and persistent enemy. If you have a mental illness, you probably know where I'm going with this. Many of us call them episodes. Whether it's an attack of anxiety, depression, intrusive thoughts, or the simple act of seeing a car drive slowly past my house, which will send me into a paranoid panic as I dart from window to window, demanding to know what they want and why they are watching me. These episodes don't operate on a schedule. They can hit at any moment, triggered by the most innocuous things, with no warning. Because of this, there's a background noise of dread constantly buzzing in my head. Some episodes are not so sudden. You can feel them growing in the back of your mind, like seeing dark clouds of a storm approaching. In these cases, you know it's going to hit, but that's of little help. Those cursed by mental illness are relentlessly pursued by our symptoms. There are some medicines that can head off an attack, but they only deal with that episode. Inevitably, there will be more. As an aside, a lot of people seem to think that medicine is a fix. It's an enormous help, but it doesn't cure the illness. Provided you find the right medicine, the symptoms are mostly just easier to manage. People still have bad days or episodes. So if you have a friend or loved one struggling with mental illness, keep this in mind. The goal at the start of the game is to acquire 4 great souls, by defeating the important figures in the world who have them. To get one of these great souls, you have to descend into a pit in the center of Majula, the hub area. This eventually leads to a place called the Gutter. It's dark and foreboding, and you can hear a rhythmic thumping that seems to be coming from the world itself. In case you're not sure what it's supposed to be, they've added these pots that look like hearts to clarify. It's not subtle, but good storytelling doesn't have to be. Throughout this place are these little statues that spit green poison at you. They spread out in various places, and while not difficult to circumvent, they make the journey through this dark place all the more challenging. You make your way through the gutter and end up in the Black Gulch. This place is drenched in the green poison, and the statues are everywhere, unavoidable, and deadly. Getting through this area without getting poisoned is not something I have accomplished. At the end of this path is the Rotten, a monster made of the bodies of long-lost hollows. It carries one of the 4 great souls. When you meet the monster, it's trying to reassemble the statues. So, you descend into the depths of yourself to fight something rotten within that's poisoning you. You defeat it, but the damage is done. When the rotten is gone, the statues remain. The poison remains. As I see it, defeating the rotten parallels getting your diagnosis. It can be a difficult process wherein you fight with yourself to even get the medical help you need. And the diagnosis helps considerably, but it also isn't a cure. It just leads you to the next battlefield. In addition to therapy and medications, doctors recommend we build a support network of people we trust. As I said toward the beginning of this video, isolation is a major problem we face. So it's immeasurably helpful having people in your corner who reach out to ask how you're feeling, if you're sleeping, if you've taken your medicine today, or just hang out to share the same air, be it in person or voice chat. Support networks can help us stay grounded and maintain good, healthy habits. Meditation is also a great tool. I go to a place that I find comforting, sit on a pillow because I'm old and my back will ache if I don't, and just listen to my breathing and some pleasant music. Majula is the central hub in Dark Souls 2's world. It's a peaceful and calming place with soothing music and the sounds of the ocean. That pleasant music I play during meditation is often the Majula theme music. And I've even pulled up the 10-hour loop of the theme to help me sleep. There are several people in Majula. The Emerald Herald, your guide to this world, helps you gain levels and improve your healing flask. A cranky blacksmith upgrades your gear. An armorer carries a variety of equipment. And there's this mysterious cat that sells many different things. As you travel through Drangleic, you meet several people who can help you on your journey. Some aid you in combat, while others travel to Majula and set up shop there. As you progress in this game, you are building your support network. This is something you do in each Dark Souls game, and it's nice watching the hub area fill up with people who can help you. There's also multiplayer, where you can summon people to help you fight your way through the world, or place your sign to help others. Different players struggle in different areas. Some dread the Shrine of Amana, while others find the Iron Keep to be the bane of their existence, with its damn archers everywhere ruining my day with their great arrows. Being able to summon help means that players can assist each other through the areas they've already mastered, or just trudge through together. Helping each other is built into the DNA of the series, and Dark Souls 2 adds items that make playing with friends somewhat easier to do. The game is great on its own, of course, but playing with friends is an excellent way to experience it, as you support each other through your journeys. I was so instrumentally helpful. Dark Souls 2 is an unfairly criticized game. Its perception is a little better now, thanks in part to the HBomberguy defense video, I imagine. But I still see complaints about its world not making sense, accusations that it has too many dudes and armor bosses, and it's a bad game made by the B team at From Software. And even the damning with faint praise statement that even the worst Souls game is still better than most. So many people never even gave the game a chance. This game does so many interesting and incredible things with its world, items, and characters, especially what it does for the player character. If you approach this game by looking at what it's doing, instead of comparing it to the other games in the franchise, you'll see the wonderful things Dark Souls 2 has to offer. Mental illness is something that I've struggled with for most of my life. Even before I knew what was wrong with me, I knew something was wrong. And my fight with this curse will continue. It's tiring to think about it like that, but I know if I keep my support network handy and hold my human effigy close, this fight will be a little easier. It's a wonderful thing to see that struggle mirrored in one of my favorite games. It makes me love it all the more. If I ever get the opportunity to meet the designers of Dark Souls 2, I will thank them from the bottom of my heart, and probably cry a little. Good tears, though. Before I close out, if you find you have anxiety attacks, regular bouts with depression, irregular mood swings, or just a deep-seated feeling that something is wrong with you, please reach out to someone who can help. Despite having all those symptoms I just named, I didn't seek help for more than a decade, and I'm better off now that I've got psychiatric help. I'll put links to a few helplines and organizations in the description for this video, and please feel free to share more mental health support organizations in the comments. You deserve help, and you deserve to be happy. Thank you for watching.